Cooperatives and Lands. Dr. Dolores Stapleton Harris, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health. Mrs. Sandra Lestrade Keynes, Assistant Director, International Nursing Services. Mrs. Gail I. Cranston, Operations Manager, Joseph N. France General Hospital. Dr. Marissa Grant Tate, Oncologist, Joseph N. France General Hospital. Dr. Fortune Sitole, Associate Dean, Clinical Affairs and Professional Opportunities, Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine, parent company, Adtalem Global Education. Ms. Dentricia Blanchett, Communications Manager, Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine, parent company, Adtalem Global Education. Ms. Shirley Julius, Sales Manager, Rams Trading Limited. Ms. Rohanda Devent, Front Office Manager, Royal St. Kitts Hotel. Media, good morning. CIBC First Caribbean International Bank will, for the 8th consecutive year, be staging our principal fundraising and public awareness event, Walk for the Cure, a regional push to raise money to fight cancer. In St. Kitts and Nevis, this year's theme is Hope in Motion. We have partnered with the Oncology Unit at the J.N. France General Hospital, to which we will be donating funds raised from this year's activities to aid in their life-changing and life-saving work for cancer patients here on St. Kitts Nevis. Our walk committee this year comprises of 8 members throughout the bank, and 2 of whom are present today, and that's Chazelle Samuel and Denver Rollins. We will now have remarks by our country head, Andre Cadogan.
Thanks, Claudel, and good morning, folks. Protocol having been established. Very happy to see everyone here. And it's really an honor once again to be here as part of this event. We're very excited to be part of this amazing demonstration of selflessness and caring, which is deemed Our Walk for the Cure 2019. The staff of CIBC First Caribbean here in St. Kitts and across the region, in the 15 territories where we have a presence, are very committed to this cause and have been quietly planning and executing a range of creative and innovative fundraising events from early this year to ensure that we surpass the totals raised last year. We're aiming big again this year. I'm thrilled to report to you that over the years, those efforts of our staff, combined with the amazing generosity of the corporate community, have raised over US $2 million regionally to assist with those battling cancer in the Caribbean. Our goal is to raise $550,000 US in 2019 for the various organizations that partner with us regionally, and I firmly believe that we will not only meet but surpass that target this year. This is our 8th year of Walk for the Cure regionally. It was the bank's charitable trust, the First Caribbean International ComTrust Foundation, then chaired by our late executive chairman, Mr. Michael Mansour, who unfortunately passed away in December, that got us involved with this cause. Patterned somewhat after the more established Run for the Cure, sponsored by CIBC in Canada, in support of the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation's Run for the Cure. Our own Caribbean event, with the full support of the trustees of our foundation, which is now chaired by our CEO, Colette Delaney, developed from US $30,000 across the Caribbean from our inaugural event in 2012 to over US $2 million we mentioned earlier, and we intend to keep it growing. Ladies and gentlemen, Walk for the Cure is more than just a fundraiser. It is answering the call to be our brother's keeper. It is about providing comfort and care to many whose lives are ravaged by this disease. It is about education and early detection. It's really about saving lives. This year, our walk is being held on Saturday, October 12th starting at 6:30 a.m. under the theme Hope in Motion. This event, this yearly crusade of thousands joining hearts and hands, rallying for a cure against cancer, has become a corporate heartbeat. And it's not only my vision, but the vision of our CEO, our WALK co-chairs, and our employees to see it continue to grow. So that we will soon be quoting figures raised beyond the 2 million we mentioned earlier. Once again, we're really happy to have you part of this event, and I now hand back over to our WALK chair, Claudel.
This year we have some sponsors confirmed, our regional sponsors, Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine, parent company, Adtalem Global Education, Harris Paints, TSL Barbados, and Visa. Our local sponsors and contributors are Rams Trading Limited, Royal St. Kitts Hotel, SKN Vibes, Open Interactive, Mitcham and Benjamin, Modern Elegance Photography, Park Hyatt, OTI, St. Kitts Nevis Anguilla Trading and Development Company Limited, Muse Management, CrossFit La Amiga, Coscab, Digicel, Marshall's Restaurant, Carambola Beach Club, Royal Gems, Noble Jewelers, Bees Enterprises, and Royal Chop Shop. We have represented here today 3 of our sponsors, and we will hear from them now. First, we'll hear from Dr. Fortune Sitole, Associate Dean, Clinical Affairs and Professional Opportunities, Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine, parent company Adtalem Global Education.
Excuse me.
Good morning. With the protocol already having been established, my name is Fortune Sitole, and I'm the Associate Dean of Clinical Affairs at Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine. Today I'm proud to present my Dean, Dr. Callanan, who is not able to be here with us, but also proud to represent the leadership at Ross University, our students and colleagues at Ross University. Also proud to represent our parent company, Adtalem Global Education. Breast cancer remains a life-threatening illness that we can't ignore on the Federation, as well as certainly in the Caribbean. It causes incredible devastation to those that are diagnosed, but also to the families of those that are diagnosed. Fighting this disease effectively takes community effort. Raising awareness through community activities is extremely important for early detection. I would like to refer to one of our recent graduates, Dr. Melissa Sloan. Dr. Sloan was our student at Ross University, and at some point during her studies was diagnosed with breast cancer. She had to leave school for about 1.5 years to go for treatments. I'm proud to say that Dr. Sloan actually was able to beat the disease, is now a survivor. She came back to school and is now a veterinarian. So this is all because of the importance of such events that raise awareness for early detection. This is why Ross University and Adtalem Global Education are proud to support CIBC First Caribbean on your 8th walk for the queue on the Federation. Ross University School of Veterinary Medicine and Adtalem Global Education are pleased to be one of the region's largest cancer fundraisers and believe that the funds raised will provide assistance, care, and counseling to cancer patients and their families and increase awareness. At Ross, we have more than 5,500 university alumni all around the world who are dedicated to helping those who are suffering. Each of our colleagues and students know at least one person who's fighting the cancer, and we all agree that the only way we will win as a community, as a federation, as a region, is if we partner together and fight this disease. This year, we are focused on helping the fight against non-communicable diseases. These are diseases like cancer, diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. You'll continue to see us moving beyond serving our communities in veterinary medicine and animal care by promoting human health and supporting the best healthcare options and practices that can save lives and build the community. This is our commitment to you, CIBC, First Caribbean, and to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis. CIBC First Caribbean, thank you for leading this incredible charge. You can be confident that Ross University, School of Veterinary Medicine, and Attilam Global Education will be by your side, ready to support you in this important mission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Fortune. We will now hear from Ms. Shirley Julius, Sales Manager, Rams Trading Limited. Thank you.
Morning all, my name is Shirley Julius, representative from Rams Trading Limited. I sat here this morning and said it's a pleasure for me to be sitting next to my niece. Claudel is my niece. Our company is very pleased to be a part of such a great initiative taken by First Caribbean International Bank in promoting breast cancer awareness and their unique fundraising effort. Breast cancer has taken the lives of many persons in our federation and have changed the lifestyle of some. And I believe with the joint venture of our company with First Caribbean International Bank, we can help to save lives. We believe in supporting, and we at Rams Group of Companies have always come on board to support such initiative. And so this morning, we say thanks to First Caribbean International Bank, and we wish that other companies would come on board and support as well. Thank you.
Thank you to Shirley Julius. We'll now hear from our third sponsor representative this morning, Ms. Rohanda Devent.
Good morning, everyone. It brings me great pleasure to sit here and represent the Royal St. Kitts Hotel today in this initiative. Philanthropy and community support, they're really at the core of what we do at Royal St. Kitts Hotel. So it brings us great honor to partner with First Caribbean International Bank as they support the fight against breast cancer. Breast cancer is becoming more rampant today, not just in the world, but especially in the region. So we thank you, First Caribbean International Bank, for giving us the opportunity to partner with you in the fight. Thank you.
Thank you, Rohanda. We will now hear from Honorable Eugene Hamilton, Minister of Health.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairperson, and good morning to everyone. No breakfast this morning. Good morning to everyone. I want to, Madam Chair, adopt the protocol that you have established. However, I do recognize two of my colleagues from the Institutional Health, Ms. Gail Cranston, who is the acting operations manager, and of course the assistant matron who are here with us this morning. And as I say good morning to all of you, and as I listened to the representatives of organizations supporting this initiative, I must take a moment to thank them for their contribution, for their engagement and involvement in the fight against cancer. More so though, First Caribbean has for 8 years been in the vanguard, in the front, leading the way in terms of raising resources for the fight against cancer. And there have been many institutions and organizations engaged as well who receive support from First Caribbean. And so on this occasion, having come to the public before we even embark fully on the program, including the walk, which I think is happening in October, it is important for us, all of us, and the general public, those of you who might see this on television, to congratulate and thank First Caribbean for their sterling efforts in helping to raise funds, put their money where their mouth is a local slang, work to engage persons and organizations in the community to support the work against cancer. Now, Hippocrates, who is considered the father of modern day medicine some 2,500 years or so ago, is quoted to have said that all diseases start in the gut. I don't know if it means that we are all greedy, but all diseases start in the gut. He's quoted. Some say he didn't say it, but the truth is, while all diseases may not really start in the gut, certainly many notable autoimmune diseases do start in the gut. And it is common for us to overlook the health of our gastrointestinal system, even though it contains 10 times more bacteria, 10 times more health-determining bacteria than the rest of the body. And so it is important, therefore, for us, while we talk about the curative aspect of health, to also focus on the preventative side of health. During the last 2 days, I've had the occasion to visit schools around the country with most of my colleagues in government. And one of my charges to them and to the children is to consider how to help themselves, and that we breathe in oxygen. I invite them to consider how that carbon dioxide is returned as oxygen, and the role that the trees around us, which provide shade and cool the atmosphere, the role that the trees play in helping us to be healthy people, healthy citizens. And for that reason, I invite the children to consider this 36th Independence anniversary as an opportunity to plant a tree. Plant a tree and name it after yourself, if necessary. Plant a breadfruit tree. Plant a soursop tree. Plant an almond tree. Plant a mango tree. Name that tree after yourself, because by doing that, you're contributing to your own health and well-being, including that of your fellow men. Now, why is that so important? That is important because if we really pay attention to the science, we know that these cells in our body need two main things: oxygen and nutrients. And the question is, how are we going to contribute to what the cells need? Apart from the fact that we contaminate the cells ourselves with all kinds of things, we have to make sure that we are getting good, important, contaminated-free oxygen It is why we pay so much attention now to what's going on in the schools and cleaning against all of these diseases, these airborne things that can infect us, like mold. We have to have that clean, clear oxygen. So that's why I encourage the children to plant a tree. But I also encourage the children to consider what we eat. Forgive me for coming from the preventative side. Again, we must consider what we eat and what we drink. If you look at our population, most of our citizens today, every time they get paid on a Friday afternoon, they're downtown drinking all the Guinness they could drink. They're downtown drinking all the beers they could drink. I'm not saying don't drink a beer and don't drink a Guinness. Jesus, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying if we pay attention to our gastrointestinal system, in other words, what we feed our guts with, we will contribute more to the well-being of ourselves, to the health of our own selves. Because after those cells become contaminated, perhaps because we use too much of those corn oil and all those oils we fry with, perhaps because we use too much hamburgers and hot dogs and Kentucky Fried. I'm not saying don't eat them, mind you, I'm just saying because it's too much, I'm saying. What happens is the cells cannot absorb the oxygen and the nutrients properly. And when that happens, diseases begin to affect us in our intestines. And I became so more engaged in fighting for universal health. In fact, back in 1989, I had introduced universal health coverage for all public servants since 1989, recognizing that cancer was stripping away every saving that individuals had, every saving that organizations have, and even the country. I remember one person, for example, who at the electricity department spent more than $1 million in the 80s and yet was not able to find that real cure for the disease that was affecting them. That troubled me. And that is why when Livingston Griffin from Keys had an operation, a successful one at this institution of ours, and when Livingston Griffin was invited to go to Trinidad for 21 cycles of chemotherapy for $30,000 which he did not have, and had to endure a most painful death, that troubled me. And when I see young Akila Liebert, who I saw as a baby, going through the same trauma, went to Antigua, to the center there for radiation therapy, and further needed chemotherapy, and because she did not have the resources, what a painful death at age 31. That bothered me. And so while we talk about the cure and get involved in the chemotherapy and all that, I also want us to get our focus also on the preventative side of things. That's why I'm so passionate about this universal health. And so your bank for the 8th consecutive year has been doing a significant amount of work, producing, I understand, as you said, more than $2 million so far in the region for the fight against cancer. And it is really worthy of our applause, really worthy of our commendation. And so I want everyone to applaud you for that work. Cancer is among the leading causes of death in St. Kitts. In fact, across the world, it is. So if you listen to some of the things I said earlier, how do you prevent it? I tend to feel, folks, that before 1980, when we were all feeding on mountain food, ground food, upland crops, you may have had people with cancer, but it was not so prevalent. But with a bit of affluence, the abolition of personal income tax, we started to eat more like the Americans, start to get fat. More attendant diseases has stricken us. Look at the curve. Look at any curve for the last 25 years. You'll see that the curve of those have gone that way. And the question is, while we have to work on the cure, because some are already diseased, the question is, how do you change that curve and bring it more against or closer to the horizontal line? It is our charge in this 21st century to do that, so that the burden of diseases which now affect us will decrease, and the cost of health would also be decreased, so that our savings can go more towards our own well-being as we grow older, as we need what we have saved in our youth. You see, too many of us spend our money on these things, getting ourselves sick, and then we spend our money trying to stay alive. Maybe I've taken the discussion a little away from the particular point of the cure, but those who are already diseased need a cure. And that is why even we as a government in this 21st century chose to introduce an oncology unit at the hospital. An oncology unit where persons have received treatment who live here, and as I understand it, some persons have even come from abroad to get treatment here. And so I would hope, though, in the end, when all of us put our minds to how to deal with this challenge, that there'll be less need for the use of the oncology unit. With those words, Madam Chair, and all of you who have contributed from your very businesses and of your time, and those who will get involved in the walk in October, with those words, let me thank all of you for your contribution and for thinking about those who are less fortunate than we ourselves are, because in many cases it is those who are less fortunate than some of us are who usually suffer the consequences of these diseases. Thank you, and I wish everything goes well throughout October as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Eugene Hamilton, for your remarks. I will now outline our walk route and logistics for this year. This year's walk is being held on October 12th, starting at 6:30 a.m. We will assemble at the bank's parking lot at 6 a.m. for warm-up. We have decided to take a road through Bastia this year, and so we will begin at the bank's parking lot, taking a left onto the Bay Road, heading to Bird Rock. Then we will turn left at the intersection onto Bird Rock Road, passing the roundabout, and head onto Kim Collins Highway. Off Kim Collins Highway, we will take a left onto Wellington Road and continue to Baker's Corner. There we will take a left onto East Independence Square Street, continue onto Bank Street, ending at the front of the bank. After the walk, we will have a draw for our raffle prizes, and we have raffle tickets available for sale, just $5 per ticket. For some other fundraisers that we have, two have passed already. That was a trunk sale we had in August, and a Fit for the Cure session that we had just last Saturday. Our next major fundraiser is a wine and cheese event, which includes a paint and sip with Liska Bass and an auction. This is scheduled for Saturday 28th at OTI, starting at 6 p.m. We also have tickets available on sale, and they're just 100 EC. There's an additional monetary contribution for persons who wish to paint. You can contact myself or a committee member to purchase tickets. We will also have another trunk sale, and that's on the 21st of September, starting at 7 a.m., and that's just outside the bank. So thank you for your attention here today, and we look forward to the continued support of the public as we get involved in this crusade against cancer. I am the walk manager for this year, Claudel Gums, and we will now open the floor for any questions.
Minister, can you just give us a sense of what's the level of cancer incidence in terms of numbers, who's more prevalent or more likely to get cancer, and what's the leading cause form of cancer in
I didn't hear all the question.
Okay, one, you can just tell us who's most likely to get cancer, that when you see incidence of this, there are people the most prevalent form of cancer and the numbers in terms of cancer.
Well, if I understand your question, don't quite remember your name since you didn't say it.
Leading form of cancer.
Yes. Well, yes, okay, I understand. If I understand your question, we do have gastrointestinal, we do have ovarian, we do have breast, we do have cervical, which of course is one of the cancers. All of them are reasonably contribute to the total number of cancer in our country, which is in the 70s or 80s by this time. I don't quite remember the figure there, but it's certainly high percentage of the deaths from cancers. And it is true that anyone can get cancer. The most vulnerable people, I will say, are those who normally do not pay attention to what they consume. Some have said that there's genetics involved, but I think it is more prevalent among those who contaminate the body with foods rather than the genetics. That is my personal feeling, and that is from all I've read. So I will suggest that those of us who don't pay attention to our diet, who don't exercise or do any walking, who live in conditions which are less healthy, will be at risk for getting cancer. It is known that if you eat too much of, and I don't want to single out any particular food, but let me give a class of foods. Remember, we have a situation where most of what we eat from abroad, like say our hamburgers, and those are things which are fed with all sorts of antibiotics before they come to you. And we eat too much of those foods, the risk of cancer is greater among you. That is why I tend to recommend to persons that they use the local foods. I'm Minister of Agriculture, eh? They use the local foods like the potato and the yam and the things that we grow upland. Make sure we use more of those kinds of foods. And I think that you'll be at less risk if you do that. I don't know if there was a third part of the question.
Just a point of clarification.
Yeah.
Gastrointestinal is the leading form of cancer.
You have gastrointestinal, which is all, it involves more than one, cervix, they're different. That's why I said, first of all, in my speech, that most diseases start in the gut. So you find that those cancers that are based more in the gut are more prevalent.
So now that this is being done, I was a couple of years ago, the government at the level of CARICOM, there was an initiative to basically ban the importation or tax, implement a higher tax on starchy foods, sugary food, as a means to deal with the issue of cancer. Is the government still considering going along that line?
Yes, I think that the government is studying the contributors to cancer and what comes through those sugary foods that we eat. And I know that it's on the discussion table at the moment, so it is not long before you will get decisions about either taxes on certain things or the banning of certain things.
So
to the bank officials, I know you guys mentioned over $2 million have been expended, rather raised over the years. Can you tell me to what agencies, which agencies you guys have assisted and partnered with, as well as how many persons you have assisted in seeking treatment for cancer?
Yeah, so I'd be happy to get our ComTrust Foundation to share with you a more detailed breakdown in terms of the contributions made. But as you can appreciate, these funds would have been spread across 17 territories at one point in time. So I don't have the information that I can give you clarity in terms of, but what each territory normally does, they will partner with some organization or some unit directly involved in cancer cure or cancer awareness or cancer prevention. But as I said, I'll be happy to get the information directly from the ComTrust Foundation and share it with the media.
Okay.
Carla Berridge, that is at Broadcasting Corporation. To the bank's representatives, you are partnering with the hospital this year. What goes into deciding who you will partner with in a specific year? And to Minister Hamilton, the bank is partnering with the hospital, so what will the funds be used for exactly? Will it be that patients will be treated freely or at a lesser cost?
So the decision to partner with the oncology unit this year largely had to do with the outreach that the walk manager was making during the initial plans. And I think some of the conversations she would have had pointed us in that direction. In the past, the decisions were normally taken based on groups that we knew were already involved, who had partnerships that can ensure that the funds are spread across a pretty broad category of persons. Also, we look for companies or look for organizations that are reputable in this area, and sometimes the recommendations will come from within the staff as well, because some staff are involved in various organizations.
Thank you for the question. I'm not sure that a decision has been made as to how the resources will be used, but there are options, of course. You mentioned some of them, and I'm not at this stage sure whether there's more equipment or anything needed to outfit the unit. So I believe that by the time, certainly after the walk, or around when we have the ceremony to do with the walk, we certainly should be able to tell you definitively how those resources will be used.
One of the questions is slightly moving away from this, but first, how many patients are currently being treated at the oncology unit?
I'll have to call, I don't know if I can call on any of my clinical friends here to shed some advice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Currently there are 112 patients of various cancers.
You could just come. Please.
Yes, good morning. I'm the Permanent Secretary of Health, Dolores Stapleton Harris. So, and I'm pleased on behalf of the Ministry of Health to be partnering with the bank, First Caribbean Bank, in this initiative. So currently there are approximately 112 patients who are seeking treatment and management And so, suffice us in terms of the areas in St. Kitts. We intend to have one ambulance at our 2 satellite institutions, which are the Paxson Hospital and the Molyneux Mary Charles Hospital. And the other 3 would be at the Joseph Infants General Hospital. So I can say at this point that with the addition of those 2 new ambulances, we are sufficiently covered in terms of our ambulance and EMS service and coverage.
Okay, so what's the policy in terms of treating somebody who would have come off the ship and would have fallen ill?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Okay, the context in which the question was asked is, a tourist came off the ship yesterday. The person fell, injured the right knee and left hand. An ambulance was called. The ambulance went to Port Zante. While there, they said they can't deal with the person now, even though the person was grimacing in pain. They said they just got a call that they need to leave and go to address an 11-year-old person, an 11-year-old child. So what's the policy in terms of dealing with somebody in a situation like that in your
Can we take 2 more questions?
Thank you. Yes, we'll have 2 more questions from the floor. Anyone else? Yes.
Thank you. Earlier when the manager spoke, he said that we have to be our brother's keeper. I know well that you spoke about the persons who have come on board with First Caribbean. Is it in a way that that you're trying to reach out to other entities in St. Kitts in order to support? Because it's a great initiative that you have taken on. Have you reached out to any other entities in St. Kitts and Nevis? I know we have a number of things that is happening in St. Kitts, and we support all the other efforts. Have you reached out to any of those persons in order to try to help in the promotion and the effort of breast cancer?
Yes, we have. We continue to reach out to persons. We've reached out to majority of the business places here on the island, some of whom have responded, some we are still waiting for confirmation due to other things happening. Some persons have contributed to other events and other cancer awareness activities, and so they weren't able to donate this year. But we continue our efforts. One more question. We have time for one last question. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for your attention again here today.
I would like to invite everyone. We have some light refreshments.
Yes.
Thanks for coming out, and please join us in the back for some light refreshments. Thanks again.
Picture with them and
Sure. Okay.
Will you want to it?
I'll send you a presentative. So I can see.